Oh, hey guys, here is now my top 10 movie villains list. I will warn you ahead of time, some of these characters or villains will contain spoilers for the particular films. The numbers I will let you guys know now are numbers 4 and 5. Now, you may want to, I'm not going to tell you which films or characters because want it to be left as a surprise for you guys. But once you get over it, get to those numbers, see those, mute them or skip over them to number like 3 or do what have you. That way, you guys, if you in case you haven't seen those movies, you don't get spoiled about it. So, coming in at number 10, the Xenomorph from Alien 1. Very creepy. Always creeped me out when I was younger watching the first Alien. It was just very like the way throughout the entire film, once after the chestburster scene from John Hurt, that the facehugger went around and then morphed into this big, creepy, weird-looking alien creature, and then began to kind of stalk the crew maniacally, very, slowly and quietly and very scary, and the design, H.R. Geiger, wow, creepiest creatures in all of cinema, I will say so. But now number 9 comes in at Freddy Krueger. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. My opinion, one of the best. It's very well, very creepy. The fact that he was able to just get into your dreams and kill you in your dreams is kind of really scary if you kind of think about it. And the way Robert Englund portrayed him in the first one, and even in the sequels, but that was more kind of comedic and more humorous. It was still very well done and very, one of Wes Craven's truly great characters he created next to Ghostface in the Scream franchise, and may he rest in peace. Number 8, Michael Corleone of Godfather Part 2. Just the way from where we saw him in Part 1, where he, sort of became the head of the crime family, and then throughout the entirety of Part 2, when it's not flashbacks to young Don Vito, where we see him, build this empire and build this, truly great crime family. And that ending scene, the last scene, is I think where he, earns that staple of a very well written, very well done villain. Obviously, I won't spoil that for those who haven't seen it, but yeah. And point of fact, that is my favorite in the Godfather trilogy. FYI. Now coming in number 7, Norman Stansfield, played by Gary Oldman in Leon the Professional, where he's kind of like this corrupt DEA cop agent guy, and just the way he portrays it, and the way he's just, at times he is the comic relief of the movie, which, may be a bit strange for villains, but the way it's just so well done and so well, he's very villainous and, you know, very well done, and I think he's kind of one of the underrated villains. But the my favorite quotes is "tired of this Mickey Mouse bullshit." Classic villain, and definitely one that should be on people's lists, I think. I mean, number 6, Hans Gruber, Die Hard, played by the now late Alan Rickman, who passed away last week. May he rest in peace. One of, I think, the first really cool sort of terrorist villains. And it's funny because he really wasn't a, simple terrorist. He was just a simple bank robber. He was only there to rob the bank, to rob the money from the Nakatomi Tower, and he had that little pest of John McClane running around ruining all his plans. But either way, it was, and I think it was his first actually acting role in the States that kind of cemented him as a really cool, well-done actor. And he is, in my opinion, the best Die Hard villain ever, because yeah, I don't need to say anymore because he was just perfect. Coming in at number 5, spoiler here, so if you guys haven't seen The Usual Suspects, mute now and go on to number 4 or number 3. Number 5, Rogal Kint, aka Kaiser Soze, or whoever, Kaiser Soze really is, but portrayed by Kevin Spacey, which won him the Best Supporting Oscar. Very one of the best villains because throughout the entirety of the film, we're led to believe that Kaiser Soze is like any one of these, characters that Kent tells is recalling from the, like the boat explosions and all the events prior to the film. And the reveal kind of at the end is just that more sinister because he was able to pull off all of what happened in the film, but while he was being, questioned, throughout the film, it was all made up. But the fact that he was able to just kind of do the mastermind behind the whole movie was kind of really well done. And one of my favorite quotes in all of cinema is, "The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he did not exist." Coming in at number 4, another spoiler warning for those who haven't seen the movie Seven. Back away, mute it now, or jump to number 3. Another Kevin Spacey role, John Doe, one of the most very creepy serial killers in all of film history. One of the most just villains. It's really hard to describe him, but the fact that we never really see any of him perform the crimes. We only see the aftermath and the descriptions of them. It just makes us cringe, and it's very, the way Kevin portrayed it was very well done, and in my opinion was one of his best roles. The movie is one of my favorites, Seven, and John Doe, and that ending scene. I'm not going to spoil the ending scene, but the ending scene was just, yeah, it pretty much made him one of, that alone kind of was like, yeah, he's pretty much one of the most fucked up and creepy villains of all time in movies. Now on to number 3, Darth Vader of Star Wars, particularly Empire Strikes Back. And I am a big Star Wars geek, so yeah. And he is, like, when I first saw him, he was like this very creepy guy, like a dark mask with this like red lightsaber, and like in the New Hope, yes. But then when we see him, when we finally reveal that that he is Luke's father at the end, it's kind of like, like for those who haven't, for first time viewings of Empire, it was kind of a big shock, and even cemented as like, Luke, I am your father, like most iconic lines ever by a villain, and one of, like I said, the best villains, one of my favorite villains of all time. Coming in number 2, we have Heath Ledger's The Joker from The Dark Knight, which won him the supporting actor Oscar. There isn't much to say other than, pretty. I preferred that Joker over Jack Nicholson's Joker, and just the way Heath was able to just come out with all the Joker qualities that we as comic book fans read about, and because in the Batman verse he is such a beloved villain, and the way he was able to just kind of put that into film and a character, and it's very well done, and it'll be very interesting to see where what Jared Leto does with the Joker in Suicide Squad. So, and coming in at number 1, Hannibal Lecter, Dr. Hannibal Lecter from The Silence of the Lambs. Like the Joker, like, I don't need to describe him. He was just psychiatrist who was purely cannibal, evil, but smart and very kind of like a suave, you know, at least in Silence, where he's kind of like this very sort of suave type. Even when he's behind bars, he's very, you know, relaxed and chilled. And you know that scene when he breaks out towards the middle end of the film, out of the jail cell when they're in, I think, Tennessee or wherever they were. But just that was just, you know, in my opinion, yeah, he is the best movie villain of all time. Anthony Hopkins nailed it. Red Red Dragon I enjoyed very much. Hannibal not so much, but you know, Silence and Red Dragon are my favorites from the trilogy of the Thomas Harris novels. Um, okay, that is now my first top 10 list. And I know there are some characters that I'm sure I left out, probably like Norman Bates, Alex Strange from A Clockwork Orange, and you know, I'm sure a few others that I don't recall off the top of my head right now. And those, Jack Torrance from The Shining, those are because I haven't seen those films, so I can't accurately say if they are on my list or not. But let me guys know in the comments below what you think. What are your top 10 villains? And I will see you next time.